Hey guys, it's Eddie and today I'm back with another movie review for you all. Now today's movie that I'll be reviewing is none other than the horror classic John Landis's An American Werewolf in London. Now this film is one of my absolute favourites. I really just wanted to do this review because I love it. And it stars David Norton, Griffin Dunne and Jenny Agutter. Now this film follows two American guys, David and Jack, and they are on a trip to England. They are wandering for some strange reason the Yorkshire moors, and one night they come across a strange kind of rural little pub called the Slaughtered Lamb. They go in, the locals are acting a bit shifty, wonder why. They start asking questions, they're told to get out, but the people say, stay on the road, don't wander off into the moors. By the laws of horror, of course they wander off, of course they stray off the path, and it's not long before they realise why the locals are acting so shifty. Basically, they are mauled and attacked by a werewolf. Jack, unfortunately, doesn't make it, but David is scratched by a werewolf, and he must become the next branch on the lycanthrope bloodline. Now, I won't say anything more than that. That's basically just the outset of the movie. That's just the very beginning. Now, many people, I suppose, I'm just presuming here, but they might be a little bit hesitant to watch this film because it's kind of old and it's about a werewolf, so obviously there'll be the need for special effects, and they might be a bit worried that those special effects are a little bit gaudy, a little bit outdated, and it might compare poor to the much touted, much revered CGI. However, I much prefer a film of this nature. The effects in this film, even though they were made way over 30 years ago, are still extremely chilling and extremely effective even to this day. And I'm not lying when I say this, just to make you guys watch it. It's genuinely still incredibly effective. Ask anyone that's watched the film, I think it still really has an effect on you. And what I love about this film is that John Landis, who wrote and directed this picture, provides a lot of dark humour, even amidst all this gore, amidst this horror. It even underlies the most tense moments, especially at the beginning where the boys are meandering and make a mad dash across the Yorkshire moors to run from the sound of this werewolf's very menacing growl. They're still cracking jokes. There's still this underlying sense of humour, which I think is absolutely genius. And it's sort of sick and twisted. So even amongst the sort of blood and bone crunching gore, you still find yourself chuckling at the sort of remarks made in the script by the characters, which I think is really clever. And so you find yourself, even though these images stick with you, perhaps not for the most pleasant reason, you still find yourself laughing amidst all of this horror, which is really interesting. I love it personally. And of course, comedy and horror go perfectly well together, though you might not think so. I think so. And it's no better than in this film, especially as well when Jack's, visions of Jack's corpse, perfectly animated and speaking, appear to David, and this happens several times across the movie. He's gradually disintegrating corpse appears and talks to David and urges him to end the bloodline. And it's so funny. The conversations between them are hilarious, despite the fact that Jack appears so grotesque. It's honestly the weirdest combination between comedy and horror, but it's absolutely genius. So I must credit the incredible John Landis for that. Now, I will say one of my favourite things about this film is that it has one of the most mesmerising and utterly agonising werewolf transformation sequences of all time. It's just the first time it occurs in the film, such an important chunk is dedicated to it, and the magnificent special effects of Rick Baker are utilised by John Landis in the most perfect way. And I can imagine in the 80s when this came out, this was absolutely groundbreaking. But the thing is, it hasn't lost its touch. It's still absolutely mesmerising. You can't take your eyes off it. It's shocking, and it's completely legendary, and it's something that will stay with you forever. I think you'll always think back to it and go, you know what, nothing quite beats that transformation scene in American Werewolf in London. I think that's what happened to me, and it's highly revered, and I totally get why. It's really legendary, and it's genius. And even though we have all this technology nowadays, you can't take away from the fact that there is something undeniably special about that sequence, and I think it's one thing that really makes this film. Now, I'll never forget also the first time I witnessed I'll call them wolf rampage sequences for the first time, you know, where unfortunately the transformation has occurred, as is natural in a werewolf picture, and the wolf is taking its sweet vengeance out on the unsuspecting people of London. I think these scenes were the perfect amount of gory, scary and suspenseful. I think the one on the London Underground, people who've watched it will know, is one of my absolute favourites, and it's testament to John Landis's incredible direction that it stuck with me forever. Not in a frightening way, but I just thought, kind of in a frightening way, because you do get this sense of, oh God, imagine if that was me, imagine if I was in the same situation. And that aerial shot of the wolf approaching the man on the escalator is just one of my favourite shots in a film of all time. And I think what's great about it is that the wolf, you see only flashes of it in the film until the very end, and I think that it cleverly adds to the suspense of this film, and it provides this sort of shock factor that is incredibly entertaining, incredibly clever, and I love it. So yeah, I would advise anyone watching this film to watch out for that scene. I don't know why it gripped me as much as it did, and it stuck with me, but it is, I suppose, the premise of being in that situation, and John Landis's incredible direction, which just makes you feel like, oh God, if that was me, I don't know what I'd do. It's really clever, and it's really terrifying, so yeah, look out for that one. This film, I suppose, overall has a little piece of everything, actually. It has a sweet sort of blossoming, sort of passionate romance emerging between David Norton's David and Jenny Agutter's nurse Alex, and you know, that's really sweet. And of course, at the end, at the climax of the film, there is a tinge of sadness even amongst all of this suspense. So you do get almost every genre in the midst of a really gory horror film, which is interesting. And I think it's really, again, just testament to the brilliant John Landis, who utilised his skills that are so infamous for creating films, comedy films like Trading Places and Blues Brothers, to create a funny but still incredibly scary horror film. I think this film really does, for that reason, run you through an array of emotions. And it's a wild ride, really, but all in all, I think when you come to the core of it, it's a masterclass of horror, and it's a masterclass of providing excellent, gripping special effects. I think that lies really at the heart of this film, but it's helped by a fantastic script, a fantastic cast who really help the film along incredibly, and that make you care for the characters. They are very sort of endearing, I think, in their own way. So I think this film is just incredible. It's unforgettable. Once you watch it, it'll stick with you. Maybe not for all the best reasons, but I suppose mostly all in all for good reasons. So that is my take on An American Werewolf in London. I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. If I had to give this film a rating, I'd probably give it straight up 5 out of 5 stars. It's honestly faultless. It's an incredible film, and I would advise any horror fan to go and check it out. But yeah, that's my take on this film. Remember, you can always recommend movies for me to review by messaging me on my Tumblr or commenting below. But that is it for now. Hope you guys have enjoyed this review, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.